Hey everyone, bloodmako here, and this is my Lufenia boss fight for Queen's event, the Power of Wisdom. So I brought Cloud of Darkness, Gladio and Porum. Okay, these bosses, they start off with their recast gauge immediately filled, and well, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Queen, if you're running Queen, you shouldn't have a problem with dealing with the recast gauge, but I'm not exactly sure because I don't have Queen. I tried to pull for her, I didn't get it. I know that she put party white last stand, so if I'm not wrong, the first boss will bring you down to slightly more than more than half, and then the second one should bring you down to 1, whatever you get last time. So along the way, if I'm not wrong, which applies for my current run as well, Cloud of Darkness will be able to counter and immediately get a free turn. So what I would suggest is you use her S1, her AoE, to get as many stacks as possible. So basically you should be at 4 stacks because you break the other 2. So at 4 stacks, you should still be able to survive one more hit from the boss. And then what I recommend is you use her no, sorry, when she counters, she will go to 5 stacks. And then what you should do is immediately use a 0 form to delay the last boss that has not taken a turn. So basically the one that has recast gauge free. And that is to basically buy yourself time to get to Queen's turn basically. Because what you want to do is you want to make sure that everybody's health is at least more than half, or at the very least be able to tank one of the boss. And it does about 12,000 damage, HP damage, which is why you see Porum going below less than half. And that's already with Alexander's plus 15% max HP and Gladio's survival skills. So that's something to take note. So I basically am running everything to maximize or to max out the health of my party members. So another way is you can also run Warrior of Light. He works as well, Warrior of Light's LD. But the thing I noticed was that when I was running him, they all took 3 turns in a row and basically they destroyed the Warrior of Light shield. So basically you will still take HP damage. In fact, for some reason, some of the attacks were going through even though the shields were still active. So that's something to take note. They do state that the recast gauge HP attack, it actually ignores damage mitigation, but as you can see, Gladio wasn't taking. In fact, wait, no, I think Gladio was taking damage. So yeah, it does go through damage mitigation. So yeah, that is something to take note. Warrior of Light might not be a viable choice after all. Paladin Cecile is another choice. He can be maybe replace Porum with his LD, because his LD actually does HP mitigation, or a certain amount at least. Not mitigation in a sense, but it really reduces the amount of damage you take. In fact, I think Warrior of Light still works because his LD doesn't really count as HP mitigation, it actually blocks the damage. So the mechanics is a bit wonky. Another choice you can run instead of Gladio would be Bash if you have his LD. He can basically tank all 3 of the boss recast gauge without Call of Duty. I keep thinking COD, COD, Call of Duty. No, Cloud of Darkness. Yeah, without Cloud of Darkness delaying any one of them. So yeah, he has a last stand, and because they only do 1 HP dump per boss, so one will bring him down to below health or around health, around slightly more than half. Second one will bring him down to more than half, which will or might just trigger his last stand, bring him down to 1. And then the second that the attack is over, he will immediately go back to half. So he will always have last stand. And you don't have to worry about him dying because they only do 1 HP attack. per boss. So if they do 2, then that's the issue, but yeah, they don't. So Rush is a really great choice. I was thinking of running him if this team comp didn't work, because I wanted to basically Gladio and Porom are characters that most people will have, you know. So I wanted to show how you can actually finish this stage while using most of the characters that you have. Cloud of Darkness, most people might not have. I will just replace her with someone like Arenia. I'm not sure whether about she might be able to survive HP attacks. I have not tested out, but she is the few that can actually delay by 3. I said in my video that I could only think of Quistus. Arania delays by 3 as well, so that is another choice for the Orb Condition. Speaking of the Orb Condition, it triggers at 79% and is for 20 turns. If you take HP Regen, or basically Gladio's passive, it will go up by 1. And if I believe it's a HP Regen, not a HP burst heal, it should go up by 1. And if you delay them by 3, it will go up by 15, I believe. Yeah, if you delay them by 3 turns, it goes up by 15. And another thing that is very important is that it is only the particular boss that you hit. So basically, if they are all at 1 turn and you try and do the 0 form particle beam thing, it will only increase the orb for that one particular boss. So that's something to be very careful of. So they also have a HP damage shield, so your brave still goes through, but your HP attacks will be doing 0 damage. And I believe it is for like 90,000, sorry, not 90, 900,000, something like that. So it is quite a beefy shield, but if you have someone like Cloud of Darkness, she will basically shred the shield. Another good way to take care of the shield is to basically bring in a Cloud of Darkness friend and use her burst. So basically, the shield will be destroyed or almost destroyed after she takes a turn. And I believe I do it for the second time they put up the shield. Yes, I actually brought my friend Cloud of Darkness in after they do their second recast gauge. Basically, the tough part for this fight is the start of the fight, because they are all 3 of them are taking their turn together. You can't space it out, so basically you can't heal through or heal after the HP damage. So that is the thing that you have to be very careful of. But if you can delay one of them, such that your healer or whoever has the lowest health is able to take a turn and then regen some of the HP, then that shouldn't be an issue. Another way to do it is to bring a support core, someone like Ignis. You know, just straight away heal up all your HP damage that you have lost. Ignis, who else? Paladin Cecile. Arif might not be a good choice. Actually, no wait, Arif does burst healing, so yeah, Arif might work as well. If you're really desperate, Reno works. No wait, Root works. Yeah, Root is the one that heals. Yeah, Root works. You know, just someone that can basically heal your party up to be able to tank another one of the boss hit. As you can see, after even where there was some spacing in the turn order, Porom was still brought down to 2000 health. I mean, I wasn't really worried because she actually has last stand with her. I'm not sure if it's her EX buff or her LD buff, but she has last stand. So yeah, I wasn't really worried about Porom then. And I believe here I am setting up all the the calls, the debuff calls and stuff, because I was thinking of bringing or replacing Porom with my friend Cloud of Darkness, because I wanted to make sure that Gladio was still around on the off chance that the bosses do take a turn, and I just want someone to be able to regen and cover my party members. I didn't really need Porom for the HP reduction because recast is not up. I didn't need the over heal. So yeah, and I basically wanted to delay them such that I can bring in my friend Cloud Darkness safely. And if you notice, I actually didn't really use any of my Cloud Darkness LD. It was actually saving it. But that was one of the mistakes I realized that I made, because towards the end of the fight I had like 2 or 3 more LDs available. So on hindsight, I probably would have used one of her LD early on and just delay one of the boss, probably the C or whoever the last boss was in terms of the turn order, and then make sure that Porum and or Gladio is able to go, so that they can regen. Because Cloud of Darkness will definitely go, because she will counter and break the boss that does the HP damage. So yeah, that's something to you can try out at the beginning of the fight. But as you can see, even without her LD, I have no issue getting to 5 stacks. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. I'm not exactly sure if other friend supports will be as useful. I basically brought a Cloud of Darkness friend just to make sure that the Orb is manageable, because most of the friends in my friends list, they don't really have anyone that delays. The people that I saw were Garland, who cannot delay more than 3 turns. In fact, he only can delay 1. Garland, once in a while I'll see a Cloud of Darkness, Bards, and a bunch of Tifas. So yeah, I would recommend that you try and find someone that has a Cloud of Darkness friend, and then once you are able to safely bring in a Cloud of Darkness that has burst, you are more or less set. I mean, I brought mine in at about 50%. Most of them were at 50%. And granted, I did have a Cloud of Darkness burst, but if not, I'm pretty sure someone like Paladin Cecile would also be just as useful, you know. So I brought in Cloud of Darkness. I did her LD first because I wanted the free turn, and then I brought in my Cloud of Darkness. Yes, here was what I was saying. Basically, they all a few of them put up the HP shield, and as you can see, with one LD of my Cloud of Darkness and the burst, it basically destroyed the shield immediately. So yeah, you can tell that the shield comes out at about 49%. So yeah, the shield isn't much of an issue at that point of time, especially if you're bringing someone like Cloud of Darkness burst friend. But I also noticed that after switching Porum, my brave damage dealt was significantly different. Like I could see the difference in the numbers. I mean, that could also be because I didn't apply all my calls, my HP and brave damage up calls, you know. I believe my Cloud of Darkness still had a Jack call, and I only applied it towards the end, and that was one of the mistakes I feel like I made, because you see it pretty soon actually. What I didn't know was that a Cloud of Darkness will also take an additional turn, or a quick turn, if you will, if she breaks the bosses while her burst is active. So she will do her additional attack, and then she will do she will do this additional attack from the burst, and then she will take her turn because she broke someone. So what happened was actually you see it pretty soon. I used a Jack call, and then immediately after that, Cloud of Darkness took a turn, and she was already at 0 turns left on the friend support. So she took a turn, she broke one of the boss, and then she get her free turn. And the issue was that because she had 0 friend turns left, she just retreated even though her burst was still technically active. And the reason why I actually used my Jack call was because I was going to burst with my own Cloud of Darkness. So on hindsight, I would have probably used the jet call earlier, or maybe just not use it at all, so that while I go into my Cloud of Darkness burst sequence, my friend's support is still actively using her burst effect. But oh well, I still managed to finish this in relatively decent number of turns actually. So yeah, and another interesting thing is that these bosses, they do not have a reach mechanic, so you can basically focus fire one down and then worry about the other two, because if it's two bosses, it is very manageable, especially if you're running someone like Warrior of Light or Bash, because the boss can almost never take down one single boss, at least can almost never take down one of them, especially since most of them now have a last stand, so it is almost a guarantee they will not die, other than Warrior of Light. I don't believe he has this last stand yet. But yeah, so if you are having trouble with this stage, I recommend you just focus fire one down. Let the other bosses get some splash damage, that's not an issue. Focus fire one down, take one out of the picture, and then you can slowly make your way, slowly work your way down the other two. That is just one of the tactics. You can always just bring someone like Squall and just AoE kill them. But once you hit this point of the fight, if you are in your burst sequence or in your summon sequence, you will notice that after the burst sequence, they're basically dying really. These bosses are not, they don't feel very tanky. I didn't at least me personally didn't feel that they are very tanky. It could be because I had the burst ongoing constantly, but yeah, at about 50%, if you are able to stagger their recast, you are more or less set. You don't have to really worry about the recast, and it's more of the orb really at this point of time. The orb appears at 79%, like I was saying earlier, and it doesn't go away after that. So you can slowly make your way down to 79%, but if you're doing the single target technique, then I would suggest you really focus and use as much skills as possible to take that one particular boss down, because the turn count is at 80 turns, I believe. So it is pretty tight, especially if you're not running someone that has a burst sequence. I would also recommend you bring Alexander because of the increased HP, max HP at least. So yeah, as you can see, I took one down, and the other two bosses didn't have any rage text, So I was thinking, okay, maybe not 3, maybe if it is down to 1, there might be some rage mechanic, like they cannot get debuffed or something like that. But no, even when 1 went down, the last boss was still passive. So yeah, if you're having trouble, I can recommend that you try and try this particular team that I'm using. You can also just another way is to just delay one of the boss into oblivion and just let the other two bosses continue running and let Gladio just counter them constantly. There are so many ways. This fight is manageable after the initial onslaught. So yeah, guys, artifacts and spheres as usual at the back, and I hope you guys are also able to clear this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.